the Director of HR Technology at Oklahoma State University. Just wanted to let everybody know that this session is being streamed onto YouTube as well. So you can, if you want to, make it and you want to check it out later, it'll be on our YouTube site, HRSci, HRSCI. And with that, that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Chris, our speaker, and he's going to introduce himself. So go ahead, Chris.
Hi, thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Chris Collette, and I am an AI literacy advocate. When Tim and John asked if I'd be interested in speaking to a group of HR professionals, I couldn't wait. Actually, you guys have kind of a front row seat to the disruption that AI is causing, right, in the workforce, and so it's basically you're basically watching it kind of automate people out of jobs, really. So, but as disruptive as it is, I think there's a real opportunity to leverage AI to help mitigate those workforce reductions. And so today I'm going to show you how to integrate AI into your current processes, but in a way that isn't overly complicated or disruptive, and that also strategically aligns HR with business operations. So just a quick background about myself before we move on. I've been in tech for over 25 years, and I've worked at startups and Fortune 500 companies, so I've kind of got a feel for both. Today, I'm a solutions architect at a software as a service company. I've been there for over 18 years now, so which is kind of unreal. I'm also a freelance WordPress developer and consultant. So I guess the question is, how did I become an AI literacy advocate? And I started like about 4 years ago when I discovered GPT-3. Before ChatGPT, there was GPT-3, so there was no user interface. And I was really interested in creating some prototypes with it, but I had to learn how to use their API. And that meant spending a lot of time with the development community. And what I noticed was that outside that relatively small community, there was this significant gap in AI awareness. And this wasn't that long ago, right? So even people that I considered to be tech savvy had really no idea what was coming. And I realized that AI had been around for a long time, but it was evolving pretty slowly. What happened was that there was this really groundbreaking, without getting too technical, there was this really groundbreaking innovation that essentially slapped a warp drive on AI's evolution, right? So it was at warp. It was running at warp speed now, right? And so I knew that it was going to be ubiquitous, like really, really quickly, and it was going to be integrated into the tools that people used for work every single day, and it's going to happen in a matter of months, not years, right? So that made AI literacy kind of as essential as digital literacy, but nobody was really talking about it. Few people were talking about it. So this motivated me to stop coding and start writing and talking to people to raise awareness and understanding of AI, especially in the workforce. So what are we talking about today? What I'm going to do is introduce some practical applications of AI in HR. Through real world examples and best practices. I'll show you how to leverage some of AI's capabilities, things like data analysis, pattern recognition, predictive analytics, that sort of thing, to really enhance your existing systems and processes, and to make this as relevant and impactful as possible. Excuse me. I've organized these insights into specific strategic objectives that kind of align with the core operational pillars of a business. And those are operational efficiency, things like, focusing on workflow optimization, cost reduction, etc. Employee engagement and well-being, compliance and ethics. So, tools to mitigate risk. And then innovation and growth, right? So focus on fostering innovation and driving growth. Each of these objectives has a few slides, a set of slides. And the strategies on each of these slides, they're descriptive enough to be able to run with them on your own. But for the sake of brevity, they're not comprehensive. Like there's no time. Each of these strategies could really, you could spend an hour on each of them. So that said, I'll stop after each set of slides or after each objective for questions and if you guys want to brainstorm or whatever before moving on to the next set. And it's likely that some of you have probably already adopted some of these strategies, which is great. You're ahead of the curve. But my goal really is to be a catalyst for conversation and spark new ideas for applying AI in unconventional ways. And so with that, move on to the first slide. We'll start with data-driven decision making. Excuse me. So integrating AI into HR processes can really enhance decision making and operational efficiency, and it doesn't require like disrupting your current systems or workflows. And this is just a kind of a high level guide to start leveraging it with really low cost and minimal disruption. So you begin with your existing data. So start with data like performance evaluations, recruitment details, and also start with simple tools like spreadsheets, right? You don't need to just dive into business intelligence platforms just yet. You want to keep it simple to start with. Focus on impactful decisions. So that means identify areas where you think AI-driven insights could really make a significant difference, like identifying high-performance employee characteristics and traits or optimizing recruitment strategies. And then, there's a lot of user-friendly, not a lot, but there's several really good user-friendly open source platforms that you can use for basic data analysis that don't require deep technical knowledge. Some popular ones are Orange, Nime, and Google Colaboratory. And then use those tools to leverage simple machine learning models. They have them built in, and that helps you forecast critical outcomes like for example potential employee turnover. Let's see, implement natural language processing. So tools like ChatGPT are really good at analyzing qualitative data, right? Natural language processing. So they can provide insight from employee feedback using sentiment analysis. And then take these applications and start a small pilot. Start on a small scale to assess their impact and their feasibility without extensive initial investment. And then after the pilot, compare its effectiveness with your existing processes and consider expanding the successful applications, to other operations. And then lastly, and you'll see this come up multiple times, promote AI literacy, like encourage your team to learn about AI, offer resources for online learning, give them practical experience. They need to build a foundational understanding. And please, by all means, tell me if I'm going too fast. Let's see. So recruiting and talent management. So this falls under operational efficiency as well.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Sorry, going back to your last one.
Yeah.
I think the big issue that a lot of HR people have obviously is the sensitivity of data, whether that's it's got salary info or social security numbers, dates of birth,
Mhm.
things like that. So what are kind of steps that groups can
Absolutely.
take that want to, yeah, use that, but still protect their data?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, I do address that. One of the things that I talk about is the ethical application of these tools. That's actually got its own like 3 or 4 slides. And one of the slides is data privacy. So we'll definitely get into that. That's super important.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. So recruiting and talent management. So AI can enhance like almost every stage of the recruitment and talent management process. These are just some practical ideas. There may be more, but these are pretty easy to implement and cost effective. So AI enhanced job platforms, you probably are already using these, but they're really good at matching candidates with roles that fit their skills in your company culture. Chatbots for screening, deploying chatbots for the initial screening process or question and answering process, and even for scheduling interviews in the future. If you're if you want AI to check the calendars of the team that will be doing the interviewing, this really can streamline the recruitment process. Predictive analytics. So excuse me, analyze past employee data to forecast trends like turnover and even leadership potential. Um, Resume screening, that's a popular one right now, and controversial in a lot of ways for people that are not doing it right. So employing AI for unbiased, qualification focused resume evaluations, that really can enhance your candidate shortlists. And social listening, this I learned while I was researching this about passive recruiting, which is really fascinating to me. But using AI there are tools out there that for social listening, so you can discover passive candidates that align with your needs and company culture. And for employer retention, um, you know, use AI and we'll get into this in another slide, but use AI to monitor employee satisfaction in real time, and that enables you to introduce proactive retention strategies. Um, in a skills database. So create a comprehensive AI managed database for accurate internal mobility and also targeted development strategy. And then finally, personalized learning. So this is something that AI excels at, right? Leverage AI to tailor training to individual career paths and promote internal career growth. So performance analysis. So integrating AI into performance management really can enhance insights and efficiencies. By syncing AI with your current tools, um, you enable immediate data analysis, right? Kind of alluded to that earlier. And this facilitates ongoing feedback and allows for personalized development initiatives. Using AI to parse qualitative data and qualitative feedback using natural language processing, that can reveal nuanced insights into employee strengths and areas for growth, and ensure that development plans really are individualized. AI not only helps in setting dynamic, relevant goals, but can also identify future leaders through predictive analytics, and that can help with succession planning. It supports continuous learning uh, by tailoring the training so that it closes skill gaps and prepares the employees for future challenges. Um, monitor for bias and ensuring AI's equitable use is really important. As is maintaining open communication with your employees about how you're using AI in their performance management. And, it goes really far in fostering a level of trust. And then continuously refining your AI applications based on feedback will make sure that your approach is evolving to meet the both the organizational and employee needs. And I think this is the last slide for operational efficiency. So enhancing remote work capabilities, right? So post-pandemic workforce is really experiencing a massive, and fast-moving shift to hybrid and remote work. And AI can really play a big role in enhancing remote work capabilities. So some things are that, excuse me, AI scheduling, for example, can align work hours, prevent bottlenecks, and manage workloads to help avoid burnout. And then productivity monitoring, and analytics can help identify inefficiencies. And then, if needed, support interventions. And then also enable proactive, wellness initiatives. Personalized engagement tools that, like I said, AI, you'll see personalization pop up, all over the place. Personalized engagement tools and AI-powered learning can keep your remote employees satisfied and growing professionally. And AI enhances communication as well and automates routine tasks. So this can improve efficiency and job satisfaction for remote workers. And then implement regular feedback loops. This to continuously refine the tools that you're using and make sure that they're meeting the employee needs. Excuse me, I need to take a drink. And then remember that transparency around AI usage really fosters trust. Like, I'm going to recap that throughout this presentation. Like, it's really important. And it, and ensures technology is really enhancing the remote experience in this case. Oh, one more. Customizing the onboarding experience. So, by integrating AI into the onboarding process, you can really deliver a highly personalized and engaging and effective onboarding journey, right? That's tailored for each individual. So you start by gathering detailed information on the new hires' skills, experiences, and even learning preferences, and then customize their onboarding experience right from the beginning. Implement AI-driven platforms that adapt training content and pace so that it fits the individual learning styles. And then automate the creation of like role-specific modules for more efficient onboarding. Use AI to balance the onboarding schedule, right? Ensure the new hires are learning effectively without being overwhelmed, and monitor their progress in real time so that you can make the necessary adjustments and keep them supported and engaged. AI chatbots can really enhance the interaction too by providing instant answers and guidance, and then also provide that ongoing feedback loop, right? So that AI can analyze it and then refine the onboarding process, continuously. Personalized welcome messages are pretty cool. It's a pretty cool idea. So personalize the welcome experience with AI by sending emails from specific people or suggesting relevant communities within the organization. This kind of fosters a sense of belonging right from the start. And finally, measure the effectiveness of your AI enhanced onboarding through key metrics like productivity, retention, satisfaction rates, and then use those insights to further refine and also justify the investment for AI in onboarding. Pause for questions. Here we go. So that was the end. I think that was the longest set of slides by far. And there's a lot of information.
Hey, Chris, John put a question in the chat. He asked, if you were implementing a new AI project for HR, how would you structure the project?
Hmm. Well, it depends on the project. So I removed one of the slides, one of the slides from here, ironically, talking about agile development. But it really, I fall back to agile because I used that for so long for project management. But I, I guess I would start there. I would say use an agile, agile methodology, um, and just make sure that there's buy-in from from the top, but also the employees know what's going on. In fact, I kind of touch on that further down the road, but it's hard to say because everybody's different and every project's different, and it depends on the scope really. So it's really hard to have a question that kind of answers that comprehensively. What does digital consultant? What's some things that HR could learn from that for personal branding or? Hmm. Well, for personal branding or company branding, that's really interesting. I would say that um, some of the ways that I've used it and some of my clients have used it is to make their branding and their messaging and their voice more consistent. Um, AI is really good at pattern recognition, right? So you can give it a corpus of data, say these are the these are the marketing materials that really performed well, or these are the articles that really performed well, and don't necessarily copy the subject matter, but the voice in which the message was written. Excuse me, you can create a profile for that and say the next time you write an article, you write marketing material, make sure that it's in depending on your target demographic, write it in this voice because it's going to change for each demographic. So that's how one of my clients has used it in the past.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend that works at a big company that's kind of implemented their own Gen AI, but she said one thing she does is like if she's sending out a communication to her, she's like a HR partner for a group. She said if she's sending out communication, she'll like copy in emails that the CEO has sent out or that like marketing has sent out, and she'll put in her what she wants to say and then like put it in this voice. So
Exactly.
it's the same kind of messaging that they're getting from um
Exactly.
I think a lot,
Exactly.
yeah, 'cause I think a lot of people, a lot of companies, it's like you have to, if you're doing a message like that, you have to write it and then you send it to like branding or marketing or whatever, and they wordsmith it or whatever. But that takes out a lot of that extra work.
Right. Yeah. And also, AI is really good at doing the research as well. So if you say are targeting a specific cohort that you found maybe in a forum or a certain demographic from Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, um, you know, creating those buyer personas, right? It's really good at helping you do that. It can generate personas based on the context that you provide it. And then once you have those personas, you can say, okay, now, generate a marketing message that would appeal to this specific buyer persona. So it's good at that kind of thing too.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions before Chris moves on?
I think one of the questions that I have just to understand what kind of data you should be feeding into the AI is, say, for example, if you're trying to manage churn within a company, what kind of data do you need is relevant to feed into that to then determine if people are flight risk, how to engage
Mhm.
them, that kind of stuff, while ensuring that, you're managing privacy and how does that get presented? I've never implemented a project like that.
Right. So I'm not sure how you collect the data, but if it's in, say, you're going to want to basically give the data to. There's what's called um, local LLMs that
Hmm.
keep away from the internet. So you start there. Llama, I think, is a big one. So you use a local LLM, and then you vectorize the data. So you have to feed it the data and vectorize it so that the machine can talk to it, right? Natural language processing and analyze it.
Hmm.
And then I think I'm not sure if it's in the slide that I just went over, but employee satisfaction, communications, it varies, right? It's where are it's manager feedback, it's coworker feedback, um, it's job performance. It might be, are they part of a team? Are they, participation, like looking for all these little indicators, right? And by the way, AI is really good at helping you come up with those indicators. Like if you say, hey, you know, I'm looking for indicators of jobs or of flight risk or turnover. What are some of the things that go ask ChatGPT, or if you use ChatGPT or any of the other language models, you can do that without necessarily giving them any data, right? So you're not worrying about privacy there. And then it'll say, do you have, based on that feedback, do you have access to this data or that data? Ask it what data would be ideal for that kind of thing and brainstorm with it. And then once have figured out the type of data that you want to analyze, that's when you feed it to the local language model, for say a specific employee or a specific group, and say, you know, within this data set, what are, who are the most likely to be less satisfied, or what's the what are the red flags, basically? What am I looking for? So you can look for trends and pattern analysis and that sort of thing. So does that make sense?
Hmm.
uh, these language models, especially the NLP, the chat GPTs of the world, they're excellent for brainstorming, like really good at brainstorming stuff. Um, and you just need to give it a little bit of context, and you can run with it without providing any data that would be potentially a risk. So
Okay. I think the concern is also sometimes like you're feeding these NLPs data and there's concerns about hallucinations, how they process that, and it's not entirely transparent and it's
right.
difficult to then remember to then ask it to be transparent and just be like, walk me through your process. How did that happen? That type of thing. And I
Yes.
know that if I do ask that, it'll present it, no issue, but it's so confident in when it delivers that information that you
Yeah.
always forget to ask.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's where prompt engineering really comes into play, right? And knowing how to um, prompt it in a way that um, there's ways to do it so that um, step by step, like I want you to give me a response, but show me the steps in how you got there, right? And then it'll do that, right? So prompt engineering plays a big role in that, and for a while I was big on the prompt engineering thing, and I was preaching that, and then I realized that prompt engineering is just one piece of this really big AI literacy problem, and honestly, I think that um, eventually the prompt engineering piece will be abstracted out of the equation, right? Because the tools that you're going to use, that that prompt engineering piece will be built into the tools. In fact, I just spoke with I just had a call the other day with one of my clients who was interested in implementing this platform. This platform came to them and said, "Hey, we'll do chatbots on all your articles or whatever," and they used he brought me on because he didn't know what to ask. And so, how do you prevent hallucination? How do you what are the guardrails? How do you prevent people from asking things that aren't relevant to this article? Like, what are all the things that you do? And those are all, it's all part of the prompt engineering, but it's all going to be abstracted. So you won't have to worry about that. But for a small scale individual project, you kind of have to figure that out on your own. And that's why doing it with the local, language models is really important. So you're not feeding it to ChatGPT, feeding someone's information to ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you.
My pleasure.
You see, sorry, I know you're.
Yeah, I'm reading the questions.
Okay.
Do you want me to move on, or?
I think, yeah, I think go ahead and answer it unless, yeah, unless you're
Yeah.
going to answer it later. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't talk much about prompt engineering here. So if it isn't prompt engineering, how are humans going to interface with these systems in the future? It's a good question. It'll be very similar to what ChatGPT does. So when you're using ChatGPT, whether you know it or not, there's a default prompt that's being used. In fact, what's the one that just got released? One of the language
Claude?
models that
Claude.
Claude, yeah,
Claude
Claude
3?
3, yeah. So they just released and they posted on LinkedIn like what their default prompt was. Anthropic. They said this is the prompt that we use and this is why we formatted it this way. Um, so it'll be very much the same for things like, for example, if you think of Photoshop, if you select an area in Photoshop and then you type in, replace the background or remove this, hand or whatever it is. It's not just, you're just providing a little bit of context, but in the background, there's a much bigger prompt that is involved with that, especially when it comes to image generation. But so when I say it's going to be an abstract layer, it's all going to be there. The trick is going to be, do you how much access do you give to the end user to that? Do you want them to fiddle with it, or do you or is there some kind of user interface to fine tune it? But really, they don't have access to the to the full prompt. You're just letting them fine tune some variables, let's say some parameters. So it's the Wild West right now. Does that answer the question, John? Cool, cool. All right, let's see. Move on to so we're going to move on to enhancing employee engagement and well-being. I apologize if you guys can. There's my next door neighbor decided today was a great day to start grinding tree branches. So, so AI-powered tools, give you a unique opportunity to monitor and analyze like well-being, metrics, KPIs in real time, right? So that you can implement targeted initiatives that are aimed at improving job satisfaction and the overall health and happiness of your employees. So start with a baseline survey. These are just some ideas that I come up with, but you could clearly do way more. So start with a baseline survey to pinpoint where you really need to focus, and then use AI-powered tools to dive deeper and analyze sentiments do sentiment analysis from open-ended responses. This can give you insights that go beyond traditional survey methods. Wearable tech, like, I know it seems kind of campy and almost intrusive, right? In a way, personally, I might not do it, but people really love wearable technology. It encourages, physical health tracking, and excuse me, you can use AI to analyze that data, and then highlight health trends that are affecting the workplace. Again, AI chatbots, they're popping up here. They're good at offering instant, mental health support, so they can guide employees through stress management, or even towards professional help if need be. I know it's a really touchy subject, but it's definitely something that's being used. There are tools out there for this. And you can also use AI to monitor workload patterns, and then potentially identify burnout risk, and adjust the workload proactively. And wellness programs that are tailored by AI can respond to the unique needs of different employee groups, and ensure that they're relevant and engaging. And then you want to maintain that feedback loop again, with feedback analysis, to make sure that your initiatives are evolving with the needs of the employees. Let's see. Yeah, foster an environment of openness. Encourage discussions around mental health, and supported by AI insights, right? Supporting flexible working arrangements that are informed by AI, the analysis of productivity data, and then lastly, measure the impact of the initiatives so that you're on employee retention and satisfaction, so you can continuously refine the approach, and solidify the case for investing in this initiative. Enhancing the employee experience. So by integrating AI throughout the employee life cycle, you can really elevate personalization. Integrate AI with your existing HR information systems, and to unlock that comprehensive data analysis, and really enhance personalization, across multiple HR functions, and that can help with the rest of these. So develop AI-driven profiles that capture and respond to each employee's unique career path and journey, and their preferences or goals, and that can facilitate a tailored experience, and use AI to customize learning paths, and directly support individual career aspirations and skill development. And automate career pathing with AIs, clearly outlining the potential growth trajectories, and boost motivation and engagement, and mentorship matching, right? Implement AI for mentorship matching, so that you're putting together mentors and mentees that are optimally paired for mutual growth. Customize roles and projects with AI, and aligning tasks with employee strengths and interests, and that can lead to more fulfilling work, if you have that flexibility, and deploy dynamic feedback mechanisms powered by AI, and so you can adjust in real time. You can make real-time adjustments in project management. Use AI for predictive analytics to proactively address engagement and satisfaction issues, and maintain a high level of motivation, workforce motivation. And you can enhance daily interactions with AI too, like by streamlining tasks, frees up more time for more meaningful work, and could potentially lead to improving overall job satisfaction. And then regularly update the personalization strategies based on AI insights and feedback, right? You want to make sure that these initiatives always align with the evolving needs of the employee and the organization. Right, so diversity and inclusion. So research, this was an interesting one to me because I wasn't very knowledgeable about this until I took a deep dive, and research shows that diverse, inclusive teams perform better, and when people are part of a high performing team, they're obviously more likely to feel a sense of achievement and satisfaction. And AI really, has great potential for advancing diversity and inclusion. You can use AI to audit and refine your recruitment process, and ensuring that your strategies attract a diverse candidate pool by analyzing job postings and applicant data, and looking for areas for improvement. Implement generative AI for crafting bias-free job descriptions. And this can invite a broader spectrum of applicants. And that's probably something you can do without worrying about personal data being leaked. If you want to you can do that with like the ChatGPTs of the world. AI-driven analysis of workplace dynamics can provide insights into team behaviors, and maybe help identify unconscious biases, and maybe inclusion barriers. Sorry, distracted by questions. I want to answer them all. AI-driven analysis, I already did that. All right, tailor your diversity and inclusion training with AI to ensure content relevance and effectiveness for every employee. Enhance recruitment channels through AI by identifying, and targeting diverse candidate communities, optimizing the outreach for different audiences, marketing, basically. Applying AI and resume screening to reduce bias, and focus on qualifications. Integrate blind screening processes and human oversight. Always have human oversight for comprehensive evaluations. And again, monitor the D&I progress using AI analytics to track diversity metrics like employee engagement and the impact of initiatives, focusing on trends, gaps, and opportunities. So, and that feedback loop for continuous improvement again. And continuous learning and development. So, AI has the ability to enhance development initiatives by identifying skill gaps and then creating learning paths that are tailored for individual needs. So you can start by using AI to assess and get a snapshot of your workforce's existing skills, and competencies, and find out where enhancements are needed. And then AI analytics can then pinpoint the skill gaps by comparing your workforce's current capabilities against like industry benchmarks and future demands, so that you can focus development efforts, effectively. AI-powered platforms can tailor learning paths for employees based on individual skill gaps, career aspirations, learning styles, so that development is both engaging and relevant. This is a good, interesting one. Integrate learning directly into daily workflows. So AI can dynamically tailor that, and that can make professional development kind of a seamless aspect of everyday work. Career pathing with AI helps employees kind of envision their growth opportunities within the organization, and links the acquisition of skills to tangible career advancements, monitor learning progress through AI for immediate insights into employee engagement and the program's success, so that you can adjust quickly based on real-time feedback. And there are platforms out there that do all of this. AI-powered microlearnings can deliver concise and targeted lessons that suit the busy schedules of your employees and can reinforce key concepts. And finally, use AI to evaluate the impact of these AI-driven learning initiatives on overall performance and engagement. This will demonstrate the tangible benefits of this program, and it not only supports individual career progression, but it aligns the workforce development with the organizational goals. Right, so that's the second one. There's two more. I'm going longer than I expected, but that's okay. Is anybody finding any of this is useful? I'm really curious to get some feedback.
Chris, did you see Kelly's comment in there?
But is extremely error prone. This is a place for good prompt engineering. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. And honestly, there are tools out there and platforms out there that that specialize in just that. But I think it's imperative to actually, I think the abstraction piece that I talked about before is going to happen, but it's also imperative to understand. And yeah, I'll definitely share the deck. It's imperative to understand the prompt engineering and the different types of prompt engineering that you can do for different use cases. And there's a whole there's a whole community out there that's you could spend days reading about prompt engineering methods and all that. But yeah, no, I agree absolutely. Good prompt engineering is going to be super important, or understanding it anyway.
That's fair. You talked a little bit about sort of the efficiencies from AI, and I know you worked in sort of the digital communication space, which has also gone through a bit of a transformation with technology.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, right. From that, those roles work very differently, and those teams work very differently. Can you talk a little bit about sort of how you've sort of seen that evolution going, and what things we might expect in HR, about sort of where resources move, or new types of positions that are created or eliminated, and sort of any insights that you have from that experience that might be useful to us as we're sort of going through something somewhat similar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not just HR, right? It's going to be across the board. I think the big thing that I keep seeing is the importance of reskilling and upskilling, and that people that do one specific job, they have to learn data analysis. They don't necessarily need to be data scientists, but they have to understand how the data is being analyzed and how to read the results from that analysis. And because the jobs are going to change. I think one of the good examples there were a few, but the one that pops into mind is medical imaging. So I can't remember who it was, which company, which healthcare provider it was, but they used IBM's is it Deep Blue or Big Blue or something like that, one of their for medical imaging. And what happened was they found that the doctors that were responsible for analyzing these images in the past, now AI was so good at analyzing these with an accuracy rate that was really good, that they spent way less time doing the image analysis and a lot more time with patient planning, right, and being involved in that process. And so their roles, changed and evolved for the better, right? So that they weren't letting those positions go, they were basically becoming a hybrid and having a foot in each vertical, if you will. Same with another one that pops into mind is the Netflix. There was a good article about how the marketing department was tasked with they had this giant like ocean of data of viewing preferences and plays and pauses and what got watched and what didn't, and so the marketing department needed to understand. They had all this data, but they needed to understand how to pull the answers, the information that they needed from that data. So they had to learn about data science and data analysis, and AI helped them with that. But now, when you open Netflix, you see your Netflix isn't the same as someone else's Netflix, and that's because of the algorithms involved. But that's also all the emails that you get, right? All the text, what's new, all those things. That's all the marketing department and all the marketing, the copy. That's all based on the data analysis that this marketing department had to learn. So their roles changed. They're not only marketing department, now they're marketing and data analysis. So it's the constant reskilling and upskilling that is going to play a part in whether organizations, succeed or fail in this new world.
If HR can be as directional and as personalized as Netflix is, we can really interact with our employees a lot better.
Yeah, and AI, like I just showed you, AI has the power to. It's really good at personalization, right? If you give it the data, it's all context driven, right? And inference, and so the trick is you guys are walking a fine line between the privacy piece and the AI piece, right? And then the marketing, the delivery piece. But it's possible, and one of the first things that I read that stood out to me was an IBM white paper, and it said that AI is not going to replace workers. It's going to replace workers that don't use AI, right? And that's across the board. It's just that in some situations it's a little trickier. In HR, it's definitely trickier, but it's not impossible. And it's so early. You guys are, ahead of the curve, right? The wave is just small right now. So as long as you stay on it, you can surf it. AI for healthcare analysis. Yeah, that's a good point, Kelly. So in the next section, I talk about the ethical application of AI, and one of the things that I mentioned was it's important not only to have an ethical framework and guidelines internally, but also all your vendors need to abide by the same ethics and guidelines, right? So maybe we can use that as a jumping off point to the next section.
Chris, we're actually
we're up against it.
Yeah. You just talked. You just were so into it.
I'm really sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I think it's you got the data out. We had some good discussion. Maybe
I could fly through these bullet points and you can look at them, and then I can send out the slide deck. I can format it in a way that it is so that I can send it out. So there's bias mitigation, the ethical frameworks, and data privacy and data protection, and employee involvement and feedback. That all comes under the ensuring compliance and ethics piece. And then so predictive workforce planning, promoting a data-driven culture, and adapting to change and innovation, and then engaging in cross-function, collaboration, basically removing the silos and help. AI can help with cross-functional learning. And that was the last slide. So I will definitely get this out to people. I'll have to just reformat it a little bit. And if you guys want to talk about it more, like, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. By all means, I'm always open to chatting or even, hopping on a Zoom. I love talking about this stuff. So
Yeah, and I put the links to our YouTube channel, our LinkedIn group, and I'll put the link to Chris's LinkedIn profile. But yeah, I think maybe Chris, once you get the slides ready, we could put them up on the YouTube
Sure.
in the LinkedIn group.
Of course.
Could be a good way for people to see those. But yeah, we don't have a session scheduled right now for next week. But keep an eye if you subscribe to LinkedIn, follow me or John, or like on the YouTube, you'll see when our next event is scheduled. But thank you everybody for coming, and thank you for your participation, and I hope you have a great week and a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you guys for the opportunity to talk. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.